Welcome to the Toy Rewind Podcast with your hosts, the Brothers Newland. Now, let's talk toys.
And welcome, everybody. I'm Michael.
I am John.
And I'm Andrew. And this week on the Toy Rewind podcast, Michael, John, and myself are looking back at 1982, doing a little rewind all the way back to talk about Eagle Force, which was released by the MEGO Corporation during Ronald Reagan's first term. John updated the notes, and that was a little interesting thing I was not expecting. So that caught me off guard. This week, along with the three of us, we have a special guest, Dwayne from the Cross the Streams Media, our partner that we do all of our releases with, at least this season, since we've been doing it this season. And so, Dwayne, thanks for joining us.
No problem. You had to bring in the old guy to talk about the early 80s. I get it.
Yeah.
When these released, I wasn't quite around yet. John was 2, and Michael, I don't know what he remembers. I don't know what he remembers ever anyway. So, no. We messaged about this one for a little while. We've had a couple people ask about this one specifically. So, really proud that we're actually getting this one in. And this is one that I know you've mentioned that you liked. So, yeah, I'm excited about this one. They actually had some cool figures. I don't know how well they did. We're going to talk about that, but they had some cool figures in here, if you ask me. So,
I was talking to John before we started here, and I thought I had like 2 of them as a kid, and then I started looking at them. I'm like, wait, no, I had that one. I had like 5 or 6 of them. I was like, oh, I didn't know they made that many.
That's doing this podcast. I think that's how it's come up for us. We're like, I remember having a couple, and they're like, no, we had this, we had all these. Like, so I think that's happened to a lot of us. So, well, before we dig in, memories, before we dig into Eagle Force, John, you want to hit those social medias for us?
Sure can. All right. So check our website out at toyrewindpodcast.com. You can also look us up over at crossthestreamsmedia.com. You can email us at toyrewindpodcast@gmail.com. Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch is all Toy Rewind Pod. Facebook and YouTube is Toy Rewind Podcast. Make sure you put the podcast in there or you won't get us. You'll get somebody else. We stream our Toy Box showcases to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can always look up our podcast bingo and have some fun while you're listening to us over at podcastbingo.com/Toy Rewind. And then always keep up with us for our collector showcases as we do those occasionally. With some other people to look at their collections and see why they collected stuff and how they got into it and everything. And we team up with our partners over on the Geek Together channel on Twitch. So make sure you're checking them out too.
Yeah, please do. We have already have our January collector showcase kind of lined up. We got to get the exact date, but we do have, it's going to be the first couple weeks there. And we're talking to DeLorean from Secondary Heroes because we're going to talk movie memorabilia. And who has more than him? I honestly don't know. So we're going to talk DeLoreans and check his out, and it'll be a lot of fun. So while we are getting ready for the holidays, there's one big thing we're doing, and that is our toy bracket that we're doing right now. We've just got finished with the 3rd round, and we're getting ready. The actual 4th round is actually posted now as of you listening to this. So we want to talk about these, though, because we've been kind of running through the votes and everything. So let's see. The first line was the classic NES against Thundercats. Any surprises on this one?
No.
We kind of knew the Nintendo Entertainment System was going to run the gamut. So
yeah,
it's there. Nintendo beat
I
Thundercats.
still disagree with this one, but I'll let it slide.
I voted for Thundercats. I knew
so
that,
did I.
So it did get a couple votes.
Nintendo won 28-7. So Thundercats, I would say they gave up a little bit of a challenge there. Didn't quite get it all the way there, but at least they challenged a little bit. not like who was it, Pillow People, who just lost 30-0 to Nintendo.
Right.
So I mean, I think we're getting a little better.
I think there's a lot of people with this one though, that especially our ages and stuff, they grew up with the NES, and it's something that really just stands out. So,
and I know Dwayne had mentioned, like he said, the Nintendo is not a toy,
not
but our definition of toy is something that you play with, and you definitely do play the NES.
And
So,
I spent more of growing up with the Atari, so that's why I went with Thundercats, because I didn't spend as much time with the Nintendo as you guys did. So
yeah. Second round, or the second matchup, was G.I. Joe against Glowworm. Another, I don't think there was much of a surprise here. G.I. Joe beat Glowworm 22-12.
Now give it to Glowworm. They did come out and they came very far in this. So, I mean, it's an iconic little piece. So,
and 12 votes. 12 votes against G.I. Joe. Yeah, that's still a lot more than what I expected.
This is the 3-inch line. This is not the 12-inch line. So, I mean, that's a pretty strong line. To get 12 votes, I think they did pretty good.
I have to say, I was listening to the last episode with my daughter, and she's like, "What's a glowworm?" And I'm like, "Well, it's a worm that its head glows." She's like, "That sounds scary."
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. All right, Hot Wheels versus Big Wheel. This is our Big Wheels matchup here. Hot Wheels won 24-12. So again,
I mean,
another one that made up a pretty big challenge here for Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
So
I still like that picture you got for Hot Wheels, though.
Yeah, we know. Every time.
I wonder where it came from.
Yeah,
every time. And then this is the big one: DC Superpowers collection against Marvel Secret Wars, and this was the closest by one vote. Marvel Secret Wars beat DC 17-16.
I mean, this one's upsetting to me because I think everyone is focused on Marvel now instead of actually thinking about and looking at the toys. I don't know. DC had better toys back then.
All you got to do is look at the pictures I used here, and you just look at that Spider-Man against that Superman or Batman. I mean,
Robin looks like he has no neck though. So
yeah.
Well, that's because his cape is on. His cape comes up, and
Aquaman looks a little too happy back there too. So
it's definitely that was the one that just took us by surprise. There, we knew it was going to be close. Again, like you said, most people are looking at the Marvel against DC and not specifically the toy lines. And Marvel's big right now. I mean, obviously, Spider-Man just came out and broke records. So
very good movie too. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't that great, but all right, well.
I mean,
maybe those people didn't speak English. There was something else. Oh, this is our Christmas episode. Like I was just talking about before, I almost completely forgot. And the last episode, before we get into MEGO, the last episode, I challenged John and Michael to come up with their favorite toy we got for Christmas. Maybe a little story behind that, if you remember getting it or whatever. So we're gonna go through those. Dwayne, I hope you maybe have one.
I have one.
If you remember a story,
I can think of something.
We'll start with Michael. That way, you have some time to get to you. So,
all right. So,
Michael?
The favorite toy that we got for Christmas, I remember getting that Smokey and the Bandit truck and car, the 18-wheeler and stuff. So that's probably one of my most favorite ones. Always getting Hot Wheels in my stocking. That's a big thing that I remember every year growing up. I got Hot Wheels in my stocking. That kind of drove into my collection here now.
Do you still get Hot Wheels in your stocking? I don't remember the last couple of years on that.
I think Mom probably puts one in there every once in a while. So
once in a while.
And then again, I think John Andrew will probably say something about this one. The year that we got our Super Mario Brothers 3 video game, we got up and played half the game before Mom and Dad even got up, and we played half the game, went back to bed, and got up and said, "Oh wow, we got a surprise that we had." So
maybe we talked about this last year. I don't know, but for anybody who's listening that hasn't gone back, you have to preface that with the fact that Santa left presents open. They weren't wrapped. They were just open in
Yeah.
front of the tree.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
we had a rule that we weren't allowed to wake mom and dad up until the sun rose or the sun was
Mhm.
up. So we had time that we would get up and play and see what we were getting there before we could wake mom and dad up and do it. And that was a little too tempting not to set that one up and play.
But the
So-
challenge was to set it back up the way they had it, or Santa put it
yeah.
out. Sorry.
Can you imagine, John, and we've been able to do that now, having a cell phone to be able to take a picture of it so we knew what it
Right.
looked like.
Yeah.
Whereas back then we just had to remember.
And
We just had to remember
the
how it
biggest
looked like.
thing with the three of us, when we walked into the living room with the Christmas tree, all my stuff was set one side, John's stuff was in the middle, and Andrew's stuff was on the other side, and it was split up like that. And we
Michael's was on the left.
Yeah, I was
Andrew's
always on the left.
on the right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was that's just the coolest thing. That's the biggest thing I remember for Christmas morning is waking up, going in there, and everything was set up and split up between the three of us, and we knew whose was whose. And then when that Christmas with the Mario Brothers 3, we walked in there, and the Nintendo was already set up and everything for us to play on it. So yeah. So that's my most biggest memories from Christmas mornings from the past. Yeah.
All right, John.
Well, I mean, we already talked about mine. I mean, it's the NES and the Mario 3, and that's the one I remember the most. But I just remember us playing, and of course, Michael always got Mario. We got Luigi and had to switch out. So
Yeah.
I mean, but as that transcends forward, everything we do is, I'm still Nintendo based, Zelda, everything else. So it's kind of
yeah.
But
all right, so you're just going to cheap out and take Michael's answer.
No, I didn't expect that whole spiel from Michael. We did not conversate about this, so I'm but it's one that we all remember.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I knew one of you was going to take it, so I came up with a different one. And it's the other one that I remember. I remember the year I got my crash test dummies, because I remember opening them, getting the car, getting the dummies, and just playing with them all day in the kitchen, ramming them into the cabinets. Mom telling me to get out from underneath her because she was trying to cook or whatever she was doing. But that's where we had like laminate flooring that I could roll the car at, and that's where I played. So I remember that. That's like,
at least the laminate flooring was smooth. It didn't have the grout relining.
Yeah. I just remember that specifically, like that one. We got so many great toys, lots of Legos. I think I got so many Legos. That's the one reason I can't think about them specifically, the years, because I just got Legos like every year. So
yeah.
It was the one that sticks out to me is the crash test dummies. So Dwayne, what do you have for us?
I actually got the whole Voltron Lion set one year, unexpectedly. Like, I didn't even ask for it. It's the one where you put the figures into, and it's actually one of the few toys I still have that I had as a kid. So that one's a pretty good memory.
Nice.
But like you guys, Santa didn't wrap our presents either. So, but we were allowed to play with them. That was the don't wake mom and dad, play with Santa's toys.
Yeah.
I guess I don't think we ever asked about that. We just always assumed we weren't supposed to touch until mom and dad was awake.
Maybe we should have asked. And like, hey,
that's like half the fun out. We had to make sure they were all back.
Yeah, we'd go play with everything, set it all back up, go lay down until the sun came up, then go wake mom and dad up, then go play with them again. So yeah.
You guys put way too much work into that.
I think we did. Yeah,
we probably did. But
the question is, what would mom and dad have done had we not done that? Would they have gotten mad?
I think it's a good question for Christmas this year.
Yeah, mom.
I mean, there will be a conversation that should be on a podcast, but won't end up being on a podcast because it'll go the wrong way and it'll be something we don't want released. That's how our conversations go in our family.
Well, at least you'll have an answer for the next podcast. How's that?
Right. Yeah. We will update everybody as we find out this information. All right. Well, that's just a little bit about us. Like, just Christmas. We hope everybody's going to have a great Christmas because this is releasing just a couple days before. So can't wait to see all those toys that the kids get, and hopefully some vintage toys. So I know somebody's got to be getting some somewhere. So, all right. With that, are we ready to talk about some Eagle Force?
Yeah.
All right.
Go
Let's
for it.
rewind and get into it.
All right, so Eagle Force. It is a 2 3/4 inch die-cast action figure line that was produced by MEGO. It was designed by MEGO's Vice President of Research and Development, Bill Barron, and along with Paul Kirchner. A little info on Kirchner. He went on to have a hand in creating some other toy lines that we've already talked about in previous episodes. He helped out with RoboForce, Dino Riders, Crash Dummies, like Andrew just spoke about, and then Spytech, which we spoke about in our 007 episode. So he's has a lot of background in comics and stuff like that as well. So at the beginning of the 1980s, something we talked about when we talked about GI Joe, the 3-inch line. 3 3/4 inch line. So this line is actually an inch shorter than a GI Joe line. It's so back in the early 80s, patriotism was back, and then the military tours were getting popular again. And with that, MEGO wanted to be a part of all that. So, and like I said, same time, that same time frame, Hasbro was doing the same thing with the GI Joe line. So in 1981. Kirchner was challenged to come up with a cast of characters who would make up Eagle Force and RIOT, which were the bad guys, each with a defined personality and armed with a distinct weapon. So the line was originally called Screaming Eagles. So they named that after the 101st Airborne. And Bill Barron had already came up with a few other characters. And then Kirchner came up with the rest of them and kind of fleshed out the ones that Barron had already came up with. So,
did you happen to find out why they chose the 2 and whatever it is size?
It never said why they took that size.
It just seems weird, odd that everybody's doing 3 3/4.
Yeah, 3. You had the Star Wars. That's why GI Joe came out that size, because they wanted to compete against the Star Wars figures,
right?
And so they came out with the same size as Star Wars. Whereas this line came out an inch smaller. Now I know like the Mask figures and the Dino Riders came out later. They're the same size as these as well.
But I feel like that's to put them in the vehicle. Like these didn't have a vehicle, right?
Yeah. And the vehicles they have, which we'll come across this in a little bit, the vehicles they have were they just recycled from other toy lines they had that MEGO had previously. I couldn't figure out which lines they actually came from, but they already had the Jeep and the tank already made up. They just used it in a different line earlier, and they just kind of repurposed it for this line. So that could be the reason why. Yeah, because the figures would fit in those.
Well,
these are die-cast figures, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
So I think it probably had to do something with that, and the fact that these were some of the first ones to come back out in metal at the time. So
yeah, and they were, all the other figures were all plastic, and this was I can't think of another one that was all metal like this.
I think just their head was plastic, right? I believe
the head was a soft rubbery type plastic, yeah. But the rest of it from the neck down was all die-cast metal. So these guys also had 5 points of articulation: the head, the shoulders, and the hips as well. So they didn't have much articulation, but that you couldn't really pose them too much. So so a couple of the ideas that Bill Barron had, he came up with Captain Claw, which was later renamed Captain Eagle, which was the leader. He came up with Goldie Hawk, who he said she would probably more likely be used as like a hostage or something by kids instead of a fighter. But she was actually called the Blonde Bombardier, is what her title was. So, but he didn't think that the kids the boys would actually use her as a a military figure. So he had Sleaze. He came up with Sleaze, which is a hippie character. It was later renamed as Tilt. And then Turk and Potluck were based on two security guards there at MEGO. And then Potluck was actually, his name was changed to KO instead of Potluck. So Turk kept his original name. So most of the characters, back then, most of these characters were based on ethnic stereotypes, which I guess wasn't frowned much upon back then as it is now. There were a couple problems that did come across. General Mamba, which was the leader of RIOT, he was an African military dictator. They changed him to a Caucasian right before it hit the market. And then Nemesis was an Arab terrorist, and they couldn't sell that figure in Europe because of that. So these now going back to RIOT, the bad guys, that stands for Roving International Organization of Tyranny. So that's where they came up with RIOT there. All the figures, they debuted in 1982 Toy Fair. Then MEGO's catalog theme for that year was Soar with the Eagles. So they just kind of hit that and ran. Now, one thing with MEGO, they were already in some financial issues. And then the cost of this, we talked about them being die cast. It costs a lot more than it would be for plastic figures. So that didn't help out any at all. So I still don't know why they went die cast with their financial issues, but something different, I guess.
I wonder if they're trying to separate themselves.
They could be
that's
something.
What I was thinking, something
more unique that kids might pick up on. Maybe they get more sales. They were kind of hoping this would kind of help them dig out of the trench that they dug themselves in. The first wave of these toys, when they went out, they went exclusively to Target, and then they sold out in that first weekend. So it was a pretty good hit when it first came out. Yeah,
so they sold out quick.
Yeah, and then later on the year, other retailers got them, but Target was the exclusive. Started out with them, and
what was it?
That was May of 1982 when they did that. So
they sold out, and then they had to hurry up and get some more made, and by that time,
they probably lost interest.
Yeah,
right?
that time the G.I. Joe hit later that year too. So
and
they're a little bit. G.I. Joe was a little bit bigger. They had more. They had the comics. They had the cartoon,
or the cartoon,
all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it just and really this didn't have all that stuff to go along with it, so it just kind of fizzled out pretty quick. So, the first wave included 13 figures, and then an additional 5 figures shortly right after that. So there was 18 figures that in this first wave total. So you had Captain Eagle; he was the leader of Eagle Force. Big Bro, he was the combat medic. The Cat, he was the escape artist. Goldie Hawk was the blonde bombardier. You had Harley, which was the ace mechanic. KO, he was the martial arts expert. Stryker, the sharpshooter. Turk is the strongman, and then Zapper was the electronic whiz. Those were the first 9 Eagle Force in that first release. And then the second one, there was 3 other good guys. You had Red Wing, who was a survival expert. He was like an American Indian on that one. Sergeant Brown is a demolitions expert, and then Wild Bill was a cowboy commando. So that was the first, that was all the Eagle Force guys. The RIOT guys, you had General Mamba. He's the ruthless dictator. Beta Man was the arsonist. Savitar was the assassin. Shock Trooper was the soldier of tyranny. So that was the kind of like the Cobra guys. That's the army builder guys. Who that was. You had Baron von Chill, the medieval mastermind, and then Nemesis, who was the saboteur. So that was all the all the Riot guys there. There was also a play set with this. It was called Eagle Mountain, and it was actually made from the mold of Marx's The Guns of Navarone playset, which we talked about with Army Men episode. They had a few modifications when they got the mold, and they kind of remodified a few of it. The top of this has got an eagle summit instead of eagle head summit instead of more of a mountaintop. Let's see, and MEGO had acquired some of the Marxist toolings after the assets were liquidated early in the late 70s there. It also came with 6 figures. It came with Captain Eagle, the Cat, Big Bro, Harley, KO, and Zapper. So you got this one play set and 6 figures along with it. So, and yeah, there's a picture of it there.
Yeah, and this is actually pretty cool for the, what was it, 40 pieces that came with it.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Holy.
But I mean,
That's pretty good size for this guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about it being part of the Army Men.
Yeah.
But the remodifications and stuff, you can kind of see the back of it here. It's got the eagle shape to the front and everything. But the levels and stuff like that. And then you got the, what was it, 6 figures, Michael, you said?
Yeah.
So
the ladder and then all the little pieces that came with it, the accessories that came with it, were exact replicas of the Guns of Navarone playset. The only thing they modified was the mountain part itself. So
it looked like the eagle up here.
Yeah.
Did you come across why they painted them gold? Like, you would think that would be like in the name somewhere. Why they painted it gold?
No, I don't know. Yeah, every one of them was they were all that metallic gold, except for one of them.
I think, and the bad guys weren't gold, right? They were just painted normal.
Yeah, there was 2 of them that were. There was red was it? Baron von Chill was red,
right?
And then
there was a blue one.
Yeah. Which one was
I'm
that
looking
one?
at him right here, but it doesn't have a name.
Savitar. Savitar was all blue. Yeah.
So I'm also interested. They're very red as far as the card.
Yeah.
And the way the card is designed. So it's got the big logo at the top, with the eagle, or the Riot one, which is actually Riot versus Eagle Force, with their little globe and sword, or whatever. Then it's got a silver band that runs around the card, and these really nice graphics on it, like illustrated graphics. But then the figures are placed in their little bubble. What's it called? The
little blister
pack.
Yeah. So they're placed in that, but they're placed all the way down in the corner. They look like they're misplaced, to be honest. They look like they should be up and around just a little bit off of that bottom corner, but that's where they're at, because there's a lot of red space around. I'm looking at this one's in a different language, so I can't even tell.
But it also shows like the character design too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the character design. It's just none of them look like somebody just didn't place things quite right, and there's a lot of red space in there. These are pretty cool. I like they look like they would stand out on a shelf. If you were walking down the toy aisle, you would see the red, because there's just a lot of it. It's kind of like all the blue to me.
The illustration on it, Kirchner did all that. And then if you notice on the front, the bubble blister on there is actually shaped like a bomb. It's got it's kind of roundish on top, and
it is on the bottom.
You see the fins on the bottom. It's really cool design on that. And I don't know of any other kind of blisters, bubbles like that on anything else that had something similar. The back of these.
You said they didn't have a comic book?
They had comic on the back of the cards.
But I mean, there's not a separate comic book that, like.
I don't think there's a separate comic
book.
No,
I think it was just the back of the card.
Just the back of the cards had a quick little comic.
Yep.
Let me find it here.
It's just interesting because the like I'm looking at this one's Goldie Hawk, and
Mhm.
like it's got the yellow spot like right up above her gun. It's got some information, a little bit of information, but it's like it looks like it's torn piece of paper. And then at the bottom, they've got the big plus with the little pop out. That's got it talks about the comic on the back, but it looks like it would be directly out of a comic book. Like they could really take this and turn it directly into a comic book.
And I think each one, the back of the cards has, like I said, has a short comic story, showcases the character's abilities, and then info on there's an info panel in the corner on their weapon that they carried. I think this comic, if I read right, the comic continues from each character to character, so it may be one full story with all of them combined.
With all of them together,
you just have to figure out where it goes.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That keeps you wanting to read more and get more. And
yeah, it just says Eagle Force card had a look and feel of a comic book, showcasing each character as well as giving an adventure on the back.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can find.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool. I mean, you'd have to keep all the cards to. That would definitely be a reason to keep them all.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
Michael didn't have a problem with that. Michael probably had them on the wall, hang it back there. Not a problem. You do whatever he wants with them.
No. Now getting back to the line, there was also 5 vehicles that came with. There was there's a picture of it there.
So this is the back, and I'm going to guess this is Goldie Hawn.
Is it numbered by any chance, so you could know which one?
I don't see a number on there to see what it is, but I just pulled it up, and yeah, this is not Goldie Hawn, my bad, Goldie Hawk. But it does say Goldie Hawk and Captain Eagle in the deal, so.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of cool that they have that panel on the bottom that describes their weapon, but I don't think you can actually do that in today's world. If you can have the specs of that weapon on a toy like that, I mean, those are like real specs on real weapons. Yeah.
And as somebody who owned these toys, the weapons they came with were, they're 2 3/4 inches, so the weapons were really small. They got lost very quickly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were little bitty. I mean, I was watching a YouTube on a guy that had his, and he was showing the weapons, and they were so small it was crazy.
And I don't even think you could because they were die cast. Like I think their hands were die cast too. So
yeah,
it was hard for them to hold the weapon.
It didn't hold it. He was trying to put it. I saw he was trying to put it in the guy's hand, in the figure's hand, and it just wouldn't hold it straight.
Yeah,
but it's just hard. But
mine did a lot of hand-to-hand combat. So
yeah, there you go.
There you go.
They did have fists of steel, so
there you go.
So there was 5 vehicles in this set as well, and actually there was 6, but there was 5. They were all battery operated. You had 2 Jeeps and 2 tanks, which were actually, like I said before, they were vehicles from other toy lines that they had, and they just reutilized those into this toy line. So they didn't have to come up with a whole new mold or whole new toy for this. They just reissued it. So they had the Eliminator Jeep, which actually came with an Eagle from Captain Eagle's Eagle. They had the Talon tank, and then they had the VTOL fighter plane, which vertical something. I can't remember what I don't remember what I told John. I know I did. I can't remember, but it's the plane that would go straight up instead of taking off like a normal plane. But the only thing is,
Harrier?
you see
Harrier jet.
Yeah. You see, like the G.I. Joe one, it has the propellers turn and it can go straight up. Well, this one didn't have propellers in it. It just looks like a normal jet. So I don't know why they call it the VTOL fighter plane when it doesn't.
I'm not sure where they get the vertical lift from.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand, but that's what they called it. So, but all these, then also on the Riot guys, there was an ambush Jeep, which was the exact same thing as the Eliminator Jeep, but it was red, and then the Rampage tank which was the same as the Talon tank, but it was red. So it was the same toy. It was just different colors. And all these were battery operated. So the tank, the Jeep actually has, you turn it on, it'll take off forward, and when it hits something, it'll switch the mechanism in it, and it'll go backwards till it hits something, till the bumper hits it, and then it'll keep going back and forth. So, and it's a pretty quick little thing. It zoops across the floor
sounds
pretty
like
good.
Andrew would like to have those because he liked to ram the crash dummies into stuff.
Yeah, that would have been great for his crash test dummies. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So
This is I didn't even know about the vehicles because I only have the action figures, but that's, I mean, for what, 1982 you said?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty cool to have battery powered vehicle with the figures.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you just stick your figure in there, turn it on, and it takes off. And when it bumps into something, it comes right back at you. So
I think this line just had a bad marketing crew with it because
I think so. And it was, like I said, it's the last year of. I think this was actually the very last line that MEGO even put out.
Well,
so.
Yeah, that, and then the fact that they sold out within the first weekend, and then they couldn't replenish them quick enough.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Had they
You
replenished
kinda-
faster, maybe it could have stuck around longer.
right. I was
you
like,
know.
if they would never have, not had enough, then.
Mhm.
But of course, I don't think they expected to sell out on the first weekend. So apparently, there was a drive to get these.
Right.
They just couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
Which tanked them.
Tanked them.
Nope.
So in Italy, there was also an amphibious carrier that was just released only in Italy. So that was the sixth vehicle. So
What? Why would you only release something in Italy?
I don't know. It was the company who
shipping.
did.
It was shipping.
I mean, I get just releasing, Europe or United States or those.
So,
I don't know, but just Italy.
yeah.
That just seems weird.
So MEGO pretty much did the U.S. and then they had other toy companies handle their lines in other countries. So like in Canada, they had Grand Toys. So Canada, they handled, like I said, Grand Toys handled it in Canada. Ideal Toys took care of all the distribution in the UK, and they were actually called Strike Force. It wasn't Eagle Force.
I was going to ask about that because I just saw some that had different names.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Strike Force was what on the card in the UK. In France, the Phoenix Toys took care of the distribution in France, but they didn't release the whole line there in France. But it was actually called Agile Force. I guess is how you pronounce it. I don't speak French, but that's what they called it there instead of Eagle Force. And then, like I said, in Italy, GIG Toys, they did the distribution there, and they added that amphibious carrier in there. And the figures were actually in a box; they weren't blister packed like we see here. What we were looking at, they're actually in boxes. So
now I'm wondering if they reused the tanks and stuff. Maybe they just had a bunch of those amphibious vehicles in Italy, and they're like, "Well, we did it with the tanks. Let's just do it with this."
it could be, yeah,
Right.
yeah. Just slap the name on there and go with it, yeah. So, but it works. So, there was also 4 adventure packs that you could buy that went with these guys. The adventure packs actually came with a figure too. None of the vehicles came with figures; they were separate. But the adventure packs came with it. You had the Biovac pack, which had a tent. There was some kind of fencing in there. It had a stretcher or a cot, I think, that your figure would sleep on inside the tent. So this came with Red Wing. Like I said, it was the survival expert with this group. You had Ocean Patrol adventure pack. It came with the cat. It was a raft. It looked like it had a shark cage in there as well, and the raft had a little motor on the back of it and stuff like that. You had some scuba gear as well that came with it. and I don't know how well the scuba deer actually fit on the metal figure, but there was a communications adventure pack. It came with Zapper. It had a radar screen, control module. It had a backpack with headphones, and then a walkie-talkie came with it as well for your figure. And then there was a tactical adventure pack. It came with Sergeant Brown. He came with a rocket launcher, a radar unit, a rocket for the rocket launcher, and a tripod, and then night vision device as well is what came with this pack. So just little extra pieces that they put out.
That sounds like the second series, though, right?
It kind of does, but it's all released at all the same time. So they did have a second wave marked out, figures and stuff, but it just never happened. A couple other quick things, real quick. There was Commando Assault outfit, which was a role-playing type outfit the kids can buy. You get your own little gun and bandolier and all kinds of stuff with that. And then you had mini cap guns as well that you would walk around and shoot your caps at people, or pop caps.
I mean, what's not to shoot people with? That's always fun.
Yeah. Well, it's just the smell of the cap is what.
I was gonna say, kids nowadays are like, what are caps?
They don't know what those little caps are.
So, like I said a minute ago, they did have a proposed second wave for this set, for this line. There was 12 more Eagle Force guys and 6 more Riot guys that were planned that just never happened. MEGO went bankrupt right before they could get this done. Kirchner actually had all the drawings and everything ready to go to be produced, and it just never didn't get a chance to. So these guys that were proposed, they had a guy named Chicago or Big Al. Some of these have multiple names because they didn't have the name actually set. So this was kind of a 1930s type guy. There was a Poncho was another guy. He was a Mexican with a sombrero and bandoliers.
Of course.
Yeah, and like I said, these were all like ethnic related type stuff. It's back then it wasn't a big deal like it is now. So
yeah.
There was Hurricane. He was a heavyweight boxer, kind of a Joe Frazier type guy. There was Rebel or Rev or Stonewall or Dixie. They didn't have a name set for him. He was a large Southern redneck. He wore a Confederate hat with Civil War cavalry boots. That definitely would not go over now. So
I feel like just talking about this, we're going to get canceled.
Yeah. There was another female character called Mimi or Brooke Lynn or Bubbles. She was an underwater operative. She had a gold wetsuit with flippers and scuba tanks and a spear gun.
Oh, she wasn't for hostage taking?
No, she wasn't. And there was Santini. He was an Italian from a circus family. He was good with tightrope walking, trapeze, and tumbling. So I guess
they were working on trying to challenge Robin. That's what.
It's kind of a Robin story.
The circus.
Yeah. Then you had Kelly and King, which was a dog trainer and his canine. So Kelly was an Irish ex-cop. He did detective work, and he was a dog trainer. Then King was the canine that sniffed out explosives and drugs. Kind of a Ren 1010 type dog is what the description was. There was a Magnum DI or Top Kick. He was a drill instructor. Then you had Malibu or Lance. He was kind of a cool California beach boy type, hot rodder. He's surfer. He wore a T-shirt and flip-flops when he was in battle.
Flip-flops are always good at battle.
Oh, yeah. Then you had Tiger, which was spelled Tygre. He was an expert knife fighter, and his uniform had little tiger stripes on it. Gizmo.
Did he have a mullet?
No, he didn't have a mullet. No. You had Gizmo. He was a weapons inventor and uncontrolled killing devices, or unconventional killing devices. Or UKD, I think is what it said on the thing. So, and then you had Shoot or Airborne or Wings or Angel. They had multiple names on him. He was a skydiver.
I was gonna say, let me guess, he can fly.
Yeah, he was a skydiver, a halo parachute. He kind of had a cocky attitude and try anything type attitude.
So wait, names you said Airborne, Wings, or Angel? Did I miss one?
Shoot.
That makes Shoot is nowhere near belongs on this.
A parachute.
Well, I guess maybe
like
the
a parachute.
Okay.
Parachute. That's what.
Okay, but maybe they should have called him Para or something. You know? Gosh.
Can you imagine being in the boardroom when they're like talking about this stuff?
And
they're all probably serious talking about.
Oh
this
yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got this California guy. He's gonna wear flip flops. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
That's what so many of the toy lines from the 80s, they think they do a lot of research. They do these little toys and then they go to give it a name and they're like, Bat. Why? Because he's a bat. Yeah, he's a bat. Let's call him Bat. That's like naming your dog because he's a dog.
DOG.
So yeah, there you go. DOG.
Well, if you go back to the first wave, you had KO. He was the martial art expert. He didn't wear boots or shoes or anything. He just had bare feet on his figure. His figure just had bare feet.
You can't do martial arts. Yeah, you can't do that with shoes on.
No. So, some of the bad guys that were supposed to be in the second thing as well. I got this real quick. You had Ivan. He was a Russian Cossack giant.
I was gonna say you should give
terrible?
us a name and we should guess what they are.
Ivan just goes
Ivan was Russian. He likes to wrestle. That's what his description was. You had Ruby.
She.
Yeah, it's a female.
Ruby.
She's a jewel thief.
No. I don't know if she could be, but she was a butch biker. She wore boots.
They didn't name her Butch?
Jeans. That would have been a great name for that. Jeans, t-shirt, leather vest, and a chain. She had a chain.
Or even better, they could have named her Trixie.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, guess this one. His name is Vulture or Vulture. They have two different spellings, but it's the same word. Vulture or Vulture. That's so. If you figure out what he can do,
he definitely flies.
He flies. Yeah.
He's a.
I'm scared to say anything because I don't want to be like
This guy was a Red Baron pilot type. So he had the whole Red Baron get up.
Okay.
You know,
they should have named him Snoopy. But
there you go. Yeah.
The way you said that, Michael, his name is Vulture or Vulture. Like
there wasn't no distinguishing between the two.
No. But you have to listen. It's Vulture or Vulture. Yeah. It's an O or a U, right?
It's VLUTURE or VLCHER.
Okay, that didn't come through at all. I thought it was VOL or VUL, like Vol or Vol.
No.
But yeah, that didn't come through at all. You didn't do a very good job at that.
Okay. I'll try harder next time.
It's like Vulture.
Yeah.
The other one is a abbreviated one. It seems like VLT.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one, his name is Captain Claw or Barracuda or the Shark.
So where's
he's in the water. He's a scuba diver.
No. I was gonna say he's a submarine commander or something.
Okay, John, it's something that Karen wanted to be when she was little back then. A pirate.
I'd be pirate.
I'll be pirate. Yes, I will. So he's a modern day pirate with a bionic peg leg and hook. What this guy was.
What'd you say his name was?
Bionic peg leg.
A bionic peg leg.
What's a bionic peg leg?
and hook. I guess he's got
So
machine
that means
guns
it
or
could
something
be
in
almost anything, just a
Yeah.
regular leg too.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely a
it's
gun.
bionic.
It's
Yeah.
definitely a gun leg.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's got some kind of weapon to it.
What'd you say the names were, Michael, for that one?
Captain Claw, both of them with the K, and then you had Barracuda or the Shark. They couldn't decide what to name the guy.
Wait, so you have Captain Claw, but that has a bionic leg.
Well, he has a bionic
hook,
too, but
A
it's not
bionic.
really a claw. It's a hook.
It's a hook.
Yeah.
Well, you can't take Hook because
Yeah, I was gonna say they couldn't take
Disney's
Hook,
had their
Captain
hands on
Hook.
that one for a while.
Yeah. So.
All right.
So you got two more on here. The next bad guy, his name is Khan,
Con.
and not the
So-
Star
He's
Trek Khan.
I was about to say he's from Star Trek,
No,
and he knows how to dive through space without hitting things.
no,
He's probably
No.
Middle Eastern or something.
Yeah.
no. He's an
He has
Asian
long hair, though.
warlord.
Asian warlord.
Does he have long hair?
Asian warlord. Yeah, he looks like yeah.
Okay.
And then you have Nitro.
He's an explosive expert.
He's
Yeah.
he's a mad bomber, and
See,
this
I
is the only
would
guy that didn't have a picture of him. It was the only guy. He just had a description. And that was it. So
I would have put him as a biker, like
yeah.
a demolition expert that is a biker. Okay.
Well, maybe he is. We don't know. They didn't.
Yeah.
And we don't know.
finish
We
the
never
line.
seen a picture.
Yeah, they never
seen a picture of him.
finished it. That was just the yeah.
He might be Ruby's boyfriend. We don't know.
Could be. So that's pretty much it on that line. The hard thing on this, and I talked to a guy at the toy show a couple weeks ago, the Dallas at the DAT show, the Dusty Attic toy show. Yeah, he came up to me and asked me, says, and this was 2 weeks ago. He goes, man, y'all need to do Eagle Force. I'm all okay. I said, we got it planned. We just had to push it back. It was supposed to be this weekend. We got it pushed back for a week. So this is for him as well. But he was talking about what he would get the Brasso cleaner just to keep it clean, keep the figure shiny and everything. So
He was more hardcore than me.
yeah. So
I was gonna say for someone, you talked to this guy. So how old do you think this guy was?
He's a little older than I am. Yeah.
So but for them back then to use the Brasso to keep a toy clean, that's like it's way out there.
Yeah. Yeah, he may have been in his early 50s probably, or right around 50. He was a little older than me, but not by much.
Let's talk about pricing on these.
And he's probably listening and saying, I can't remember the guy's name, and please forgive me for that. So
he's not going to want
the
to
next show, come up and say hi to me again. I'll remember your name.
And be sure to bring your Brasso. Let's talk about the prices, because Michael, you said you guys pulled the prices for these of what they were.
John's got the prices on these. Yeah.
What do we have? This is 1982.
All right, so I came up across this deal. So the Tank Commander set, which had the helmet, the pistol, it looks like a walkie-talkie, a little badge deal that has a bunch of stuff in it, and some glasses or some binoculars, went for $10.99. The Jeeps went for $6.99. The tanks, either one of them, went for $11.88. The plane went for $11.88, and then the Eagle Island went for $24.99, and remember that had 6 figures with it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so $24.99. Oh gosh,
right,
$24.99 for that Eagle. That's a pretty cool set. That mountain
for that price, but then there's a set
$71.80 or $98, $71.98 today.
Wow.
That's about right. I mean, that's not too bad because it comes with the 6 figures as well.
Right.
So
probably talking close to $10 for those figures, I'm guessing nowadays, right?
Right. So I came across this one. It had a set of 4 for $9.88. So I kind of did the price, and I told Michael, figuring this out, for a single one, I'm looking at $299, and surprisingly, I was correct.
861 today's money.
So
Yeah.
$299.
That's not bad at all.
$861 today's. No, it's
So
That's not bad at all.
the single figures you can get for $299. Now, as we've been discussing, this hit with a bang, sold out within the first weekend.
that was
And
May
by
of
the time
82,
they
yeah.
replenished everything, MEGO had already gone out of business. So everyone's putting these on sale and trying to get rid of them.
Mhm.
So I found the warehouses that were selling these off for the wholesale prices, trying to get rid of these.
It should have been around Christmas time of 82 then.
So you could get the figures for 97 cents a piece. And I have, like, I'm looking at these articles now with these prices in them. You could get the Jeep for $9.99. No,
Now,
I mean,
now I understand why
the
I
Jeep
had
was
these figures.
$4.97 sold.
Yeah.
All right. The tank you can get for $8.88.
Mhm.
All right. So I mean, the prices on these, you could get Eagle Island when they were doing this at this time, right around Christmas of that year. You can get Eagle Island with the six figures for $12.88.
Dang.
Why didn't you have these, Michael?
I don't know. I just
Mom, Dad, you really messed up on this
I
one.
don't
You
I
could have
don't
saved a
guess
lot
we
of money. and didn't.
shopped at Target. I don't know when Target
Right.
came to Tyler, but it was
That's
it
so
had
funny.
to have been early 80s.
All right.
See,
Here's
I-
another one with the figures.
I'm pretty
at
sure I got
77
mine
cents
at
a piece,
KB Toys.
which
so
you
they
probably
must
got
have-
the discounted prices
Right.
at KB Toys because they were
Yeah.
trying to get these sold because the company had already gone out of deal. So you're
Yeah.
getting them for anywhere from 77 to 97 cents a piece per figure.
Dang. That's
So-
crazy.
Okay, so I was looking these up on eBay because trying to find new prices. Interestingly enough, if you hit this right, you can do the same thing as they did back then in early 80s and get quite a bit for pretty cheap. Here's one that's sold, and it says lot of unopened Eagle Force vehicles, 1982 MEGO Corp. So there's 1, 2, 3, 5 vehicles. How many vehicles did you say there were? There
There's
all
six.
unopened.
Well, there was
six. So
five,
there's
five available.
there was
to sell.
five.
so this is missing the one from Italy.
Italy,
The amphibian.
They might have gotten more had they had the one from Italy. Care to take a guess on how much these cost?
$20.
You way shot over.
What?
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
$10.
The shipping was $13.55. The actual winning bid, nobody wanted these because it was 99 cents. So
Wow.
this is $14.54 for this, for shipping and everything, for 5 figures.
No, you
here's
said 5 figures or 5 vehicles?
No, sorry, 5 vehicles. 5 vehicles.
Okay, so you get
and then here's an Eagle Force plane that also went for just the 99 cents.
wow.
The Eagle
Especially
Force Eagle
unopened.
Island.
I mean,
Yeah. Eagle Force Eagle Island, original pieces, original box. Box looks like it has some damage. $25.40. Shipping was $11.85.
Wow.
I'm going to have to go
Almost.
look these up now.
Yeah.
I was
Or
gonna say, I'm just gonna look some of these up and buy me some originals. How about
or
figures?
you can find at the wrong time. Here's 19 Eagle Force diecast figures with all their weapons, 19 of them for $75.
It could be because the figures may be worth more than the
I was gonna
than
say
the
the actual diecast
Um,
figures.
Here's 2 figures for 20, 4 figures for 50, 1 figure for $2.10 with $11 shipping. So it all depends. It looks like it all depends on how you hit. Here's 2 figures for 99 cents with $5 shipping.
There you go.
So
What's the
it just
condition
kinda-
of the figures?
so some of these are opened, some of these are unopened. The cards look like they're not in great condition. There are some that look like they're in good condition, running for around the same prices. So really, they're going in these like spurts. Like people are looking for them, people aren't looking for them, so they're lower, and then
Well-
you can jack the price up or what. So
now that we've talked about it, people will be looking for them again.
Yeah.
oh yeah, there's so many
I was
people
gonna
that
say,
listen to it.
Prices are fixing to skyrocket
Yeah,
after this
yeah.
episode.
Yeah,
All right, you want to
You're-
sell them
you're
on
welcome
eBay
to
now
it.
so you get more money for your bet.
So yeah, these are very. If you hit the market in the right time, these would be very collectible. Or you could just hit the market at any time and spend a small amount, not even a huge amount, and get pretty much all of it. So
I feel though that that's kind of how the toy, especially retro toys, kind of go. They go in waves. Because I can remember in the '90s when I was looking for Thundercats, man, they were going for $100+ just for a figure with no weapons or anything. Then I picked up like a bunch of them in the 2000s for $20 for 10 figures with all the weapons. So I think they kind of go in waves in general.
Yeah,
I think
so.
if someone actually knows what they have and actually have all the pieces, I mean, I paid for some. I've got some different ones back here that I've gotten that, to get good ones with good stuff. If people know what they have or know what they're looking for, you're going to pay just a little bit more. But I don't think you have to pay an arm and a leg if you know how you're looking too.
Right.
No, I mean, there's always that one eBay guy that thinks he has the gold holy grail in prices stuff like crazy. But
here's one that's sold. This is the last one we'll talk about. There's all of the figures. Looks like there's a couple duplicates that are in good condition, carded. A few that are in mint condition. But it looks like there's quite a few doubles on those. And then a huge lot that are opened just in plastic bags, like a bunch of duplicates here. You've got some in boxes. There's a couple of the cards that are just the cards, like they've been opened, but they're still there. Looks like 60 some odd figures for $58.
That's not bad.
Not bad.
So, I mean, yeah, you can get these.
Hey, Christmas is a couple of days, guys. Y'all want to buy me some?
I already have your Christmas present on its way. Yours too,
on its way.
Yeah, I think I already have it. It's on its way. Yes,
it'll be here next Christmas. Don't worry.
Maybe.
Yeah. One more thing, real quick. After MEGO closed down that year, 1982, the action figures were re-released by the Ideal Toy Company, which was the same time that they actually were taken over by CBS Toys. They kind of went into CBS Toys. And then the packaging was actually called Strike Force. We've said that with the Canadian releases too, or the UK releases were called that. So Ideal Toy did release a few of these after MEGO had closed down as well. So
were those still die casted?
Yeah, they were still the same die cast. They just changed the name on the packaging and sold whatever extra stock there was. So that could be through those discounted stores too that we just talked about. So, but
all right. Well, we have one thing we want to do now, and I got to find the screen where it's at. Where's it at? There it is. We need to rank these boogers. We've got a whopping 2 things on this round of Mad Balls and Popples.
Andrew, I got an idea. When we're all together for Christmas, we need to retake our pictures.
Yeah. I think we've all kind of readjusted since then.
You don't like your curve?
Andrew looks the same.
No, you just got me looking.
My beard's actually shorter. My beard's just shorter.
John cleaned up since then too. So.
Well, this was a big surprise that we were going to do this. So, maybe we'll see. Maybe people like these. We'll take a vote. How about that? We'll do a vote.
You should do one with like the mugshot wall behind you so you can see your height and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's rank these real quick. Michael, where does Eagle Force fall within these many figure lines?
Yeah, these and other 2 lines we have on there for this third round. I'm gonna put them number 1. I just like the history of them and the uniqueness of them. So they're gonna be number 1 for me.
All right, John.
Between these 3,
I really debated on where I was gonna put these. Now they're definitely above Popples. I remember so much about Mad Balls though that I cannot put them above Mad Balls, so they're going to go number 2 for me.
Number 2 for John.
It was such a hard decision.
And I'll tell you that. Well, this isn't a hard decision for me at all. I do want to say, until Dwayne messaged me and said, "Hey, you guys doing Eagle Force?" I didn't know these things existed. They're pretty. It's a pretty cool line, but I'm gonna go ahead. I've got to put Mad Balls on. They've got to stay on top.
Showing your age. I get it.
I am showing my age a little bit. I enjoy the Popples. I think they're kind of cool. I mean, they're not something
you
I'm
have
play
Popples
with now
in your
or
house
whatever.
too.
But they're the kids. They're not mine. They're right up there on
You
the
still
shelf.
have them.
They're here, right? So
Yeah.
these are going number 3 for me right now.
So we have a 1, 2, 3.
We have a 1, 2, 3 in birth order.
With the being diecast, they fit in with my collection too. So that's why
that they do, Michael.
Yes,
They do. I do think these are going to end up close to probably, I would say about 12 for me. Like when it's all said and done, I don't know what all we're going to be talking about, but in this round, maybe around the 12 mark, not far outside of the top 10, because they're pretty cool. Just not something that I remember and have a lot of nostalgia against.
Well, see, I just remember so much about the Mad Balls and throwing them at people and doing stuff that it's just kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Dwayne, where do these fall for you? Like in your, say, top 10-ish? What do you think for all your toy lines that you remember?
Oh, yeah. Easily in my top 10.
Easily in your top 10?
I've actually kind of gone back to my retro stuff and kind of put a focus on that more than, but I'm doing Voltron, I'm doing Thundercats, Silverhawks. It's all that time frame, so these are definitely in there.
I mean, obviously, since we started doing the podcast, John turned into a collector, and he's getting all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
I have a lot of Batman and stuff, but a lot of the stuff that I've been getting since we've been doing it is a bunch of these turtles, these original turtles from the late '80s. So yeah, I get that. Like going back, Michael just collects pretty much. You probably throw something in his room, and he'll find it in 5 years and be like, "Oh, I collect these now." So he collects everything. So totally fits in. There was are we done with Eagle Force?
I think so.
Because I forgot there was something.
Unless y'all have something else to add to it.
I forgot. So Dwayne, you're in Houston, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So something I forgot to do because we're in the Whataburger area. One of the questions we like to ask our guests who can go to a Whataburger. I don't know how often you frequent Whataburger. If you're like us, it's at least once a week. How often do you go, and what is your go-to meal there?
I have one right up the road, so quite often. Probably for breakfast, I always like the taquitos. I don't know why they call them taquitos, but they're really burritos. But the lunchtime or dinner time menu, probably either the patty melt or the barbecue chicken strip sandwich.
Okay, interesting. We haven't heard barbecue chicken strip sandwich yet.
So the first person to introduce into our podcast the breakfast menu from Whataburger.
Mm-hmm.
They've also mentioned the patty melt now and the chicken kebab, So those are 3 things that haven't been brought up in our podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I am a sucker for their jalapeno cheddar biscuits, but my wife loves it.
You know what I like is, and they had it last year. They went away and they just brought it back again. When I would leave work late, which I had one earlier this week because I left. It was about 11:30 or so when I left work, heading home that night.
Really late.
I stopped by and picked something up. It's that breakfast burger is what they came out
Yes,
with.
I was just gonna say
It's
that.
pretty good. Yeah.
I just had that
really like
a week ago. I was like, oh, this is like everything you want in breakfast in one bite.
Yeah.
That just seems confusing to me because it's like a hamburger, but it's got breakfast foods. Because it's like a sausage, isn't it? It's not like
a sausage,
blend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
But
going
it
to
looks
talk about
like
that
a
because
hamburger.
I've never tried it, and I was like, what's the difference? It's a burger. But
No, it's sausage, bro. It's like a sausage
burger.
patty.
It's got egg, and it's got your your hash browns on it. So you get double hash browns. So you get it on the burger and you get your hash browns on the side too. So,
And I think there's bacon too.
yeah, there's bacon on there too. Yeah.
Purge.
So it's
I will
it's
definitely
good.
have to try that one because
Yeah, you need to try
I
it.
like. Well, I'm a McDonald's breakfast person, so
I don't blame you there. McDonald's is probably one of the best fast
I go
food
for a
breakfasts.
McGriddle, with bacon, egg, and cheese.
There you go.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right.
Sounds
well,
like I'm gonna have to have you guys on Burn Appetit at some point now. You like talking food?
we that's definitely one of our.
John, that's right up John's alley right there. So
yeah, that's what I do for a living is food.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, with that, before we run through some of our other, well, actually, I could say this. Be sure you're following the Geek Together social networks because that's where we do our partnership with our collector showcases. When we post about them, they post about them also. They make sure they're keeping up. That's, like I said, that's our partnership. So be sure you're following them. You're going to be able to get all that good stuff, plus all their great content that they're already doing there as well. Everything else that's in my ending spiel is Dwayne. Oh, he's over here. He's on this side. Is basically Dwayne. Cross the Streams Media. Thanks for letting us come and join you guys. Is there 12 or
I think there's 12 shows now?
Yeah, so we're excited. It's been most of this year at this point, and it's been great. Lots of going back and forth. Michael's been on.
I was on Front Row Negative.
Front Row Negative. Yeah, I was on the Movie Gap. We're going to get John on one of these one days once he decides he doesn't want to work or something. And then Michael was talking. Michael was talking to the guys about a show. I'm not going to give up too many details, but they're talking about some other ones. Like, it's all kinds of crazy stuff. Great to have the support and be able to support all the rest of the podcasts. So it's
I'm glad to see it happening. That's kind of one of the core things I wanted to do with the podcast was to kind of share each other and guests, and
it
just kind of helps us all grow our audience a little,
Yeah.
It definitely does. So here's all the podcasts that we have on there. I started doing these backwards because I felt like the Dorksmen were getting too much play on our podcast, so they go last. The Art of the Boar, Beering Ain't Easy, Front Row Negative, the Burt Reynolds and Charles Bronson podcast, the Dan Aykroyd podcast, the Movie Gap, 3 Beers and a Mic, Secondary Heroes, STS Guys, and always the Dorksmen. They do get a lot of play on here. They do. So. We get a lot of play on their podcast too, but that's just because their bingo card. We always get mentioned. So I guess it's good stuff. Well, they mentioned the Brothers Newland and the Toy Rewind podcast. They just mentioned me because I built the bingo sheet. So I think they're the only ones that are still using it. I guess actually Ed's the only one that's actually using it. Well, they just
talk about how many people use it.
Yeah. So, all those podcasts, you can check them out on Cross the Streams Media. You can get there by going to crossstreamsmedia.com. The Instagram is Instagram CTS Media, and Twitter is Cross the Streams Media.
Opposite.
Is it
Twitter,
opposite?
Yeah, Twitter only allows so many characters. So
yeah. Go the other way around. So you can get those links by going, like I say, crossstreamsmedia.com. Our Toy Rewind podcast, there's a link at the top of our website too that has it. So obviously, great place to listen. All the podcasts are great.
You can buy merch there too.
You can buy merch. The great shirt you're wearing, the Cross the Streams Media shirt, the new Toy Rewind
Toy
shirt.
Rewind.
John and Michael wore theirs last week. I decided to wear mine this week. Any of those podcasts.
I got my Christmas shirt on this week. All right.
Oh, the snitches get stitches. Yes. We also have at the end of this episode, we're going to play some clips, hopefully, of people who left us stories. I think we have one for DeLorean specifically. We'll play those, so hopefully you can enjoy those. If you want to send us a message, go over to the website, crossstreamsmedia.com. Go to the Toy Rewind section and leave us a little message. Also, you can leave us a review for Apple and everything. So if somebody was looking for you specifically, Dwayne, where can they find you?
Me specifically, I'm Manger D1 on Instagram. That's usually where I spend most of my time. So That's probably the best place to find me. But I also run all the 3 Beers and a Mic. I help out with actually a Pod Houston group here. And I also am part of Burn Appetit. So you can find me in a bunch of places.
Pretty much. And I know you are the podfather basically for this podcast group. So we really appreciate you coming on and chatting with us about Eagle Force because, like I said, I didn't know anything about it. So
yeah, it was one of the ones from my childhood, obviously, that stand out. That's why I was asking about it. So
that's
quick
pretty
question:
awesome.
Do you still have some of them?
I don't. I'm one of those victims, I like to call it, of I come home from school and all of a sudden stuff's missing.
Oh man.
And then I go to my cousin's house and wait, that's all my toys. Why are they over here?
So they automatically got passed down to the younger cousins or whatever.
Yeah.
Heard.
Exactly. And the funny part of that story, I don't know, there's that Toy Hunter show that came out a bunch of years back.
Yeah.
After the show aired, I get a call from my mom, and she's like, "Are you still mad that I gave away your Star Wars? I just watched this show." I was like, "Yeah, and now you know why."
Yeah.
Yep. So we didn't have that problem because we played so hard with ours. They just kind of disintegrated before Mom can.
They also got passed down. A lot of them got passed down.
I don't know how many actually made to Andrew.
Yeah, because by the time if anything I had got passed to John kind of took it apart.
Yeah, I like to take things apart.
So
still do,
That's true.
And then Andrew got whatever.
I got a lot of Legos, like I mentioned. Maybe that's why they were
Legos.
like, John can't take Legos apart. I mean, he can. We'll just put them back together.
Right.
So,
but I don't like Legos. So
what's the over under that Larry has at least one of these? And we get a message from him this week. He's been quiet lately, but I feel like this may be
pretty. This is a deep cut, though. I don't know.
You'd be surprised what Larry's like. Hey, I got one of those. Or
I would like to know if he has one. I'd be cool. If he's got more than one, it would be like, all right, cool.
It's like Vulture, John. That's like Vulture and Vulture.
I was going to say the same thing.
Gosh.
Vulture or Vulture?
Yeah. Larry, you're going to let us know. Do you have any of these? Do you know what Eagle Force is? And I mean, he's probably got 15 of them in their packages and probably paid $10 for all of them.
Probably.
Or what? $4? His parents. He did. I don't know if you guys saw. He posted the original ET Atari game, Michael.
Yeah.
And somebody asked him. Yeah, somebody asked him where he got it.
Let me rephrase that. Rainey has one of those in her ET collection. Yes.
But where did Rainey get it? Did y'all get that one off eBay?
I think she found it on eBay. Yeah.
Because Larry's was original.
His original.
Yeah. That was the big. I was like, yeah, of course your parents bought that for you, and you still have it.
It seems like he was lucky enough that his parents just boxed everything up and kept.
Stuck it in the attic or something.
Like Dwayne, we've already just heard that they got passed down and given away, which is the typical,
Well, Rami, the host of our show, his parents actually saved his stuff. That's what kind of got him restarted in collecting. So,
yeah,
there's a few parents out there that did it.
I think our parents would have saved our stuff if I didn't destroy them or we didn't play so hard with them. Because, I mean, even with Michael passing them down to me, they were hard played. So, yeah, we had fun.
Well, that's what toys are for, though.
That's it. I mean, you gotta have fun with them.
Open them, play with them. Somebody spent a lot of time, or hopefully a lot of time, unless you're Spider-Man from the Marvel Secret Wars, then you look stupid. And all right. Well, with that, anything else we want to drop? Because I know we're running a little long on this one than we normally do.
Hey,
it's fine. I don't care. I just
I'm all good.
I'm good.
Okay. Dwayne, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We will have you back on. We haven't had any of our guests on twice, so we will have you back on soon. We'll see who the first person is that gets a second show. All right. Well, then, on behalf of the Brothers Newland here at the Toy Rewind Podcast, play on.
You've been listening to the Toy Rewind podcast. Follow and join in the conversations at toyrewindpodcast.com.